Hello, I'm Kathy Uwimana, and I welcome you to Making Books in Kigali, where we discover the stories of social entrepreneurs and businesses shaping the literary landscape in Rwanda and across Africa. Join us as we dive into the pages of determination, innovation, and passion, showcasing the voices behind the books that bridge cultures and ignite imaginations. Get ready to be inspired by the unsung heroes of the Rwandan and African book publishing sector right here on Making Books in Kigali. Our guest today is Caroline Numuhire. She's a well-established novelist and writer with a passion for promoting African literature. She's going to share with us her experience writing novels and the impact of her work. Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Caroline, can you share a bit about yourself and your journey as a writer and coach leading up to the creation of Kigali Writers Academy?
Yeah, sure. So my life as a writer, maybe I can start with that. So I started writing when I was very young. But I think the inspiration only comes from the tons and tons of books that I've read while growing up. I believe in the power of stories shaping minds. So I've seen how books have impacted me personally, how they have impacted my friends and the community that I was part of. And I realized how much books and storytelling were extremely important for African development. So beyond literature, beyond stories that we discover, they are also tools that shape minds. And the creation of Kigali Writers Academy is really like an initiative to support more young writers to discover their talents, but also to nurture the love for writing. Writing and literature are not a stranger to African cultures, and to see how can we start, supporting the next generation of those young minds that are very passionate about using literature as a tool to continue influencing their own communities.
Thank you so much. You touched a little bit about what motivated you. But really, can you go into details about how you established the Kigali Writers Academy and what motivated, why young writers in Rwanda? Why not just any type of writer?
Yeah, I think that as African writers in general, we do face a lot of challenges in terms of accessing the resources that could help us nurture our writing skills. So I've experienced this myself, and I feel like I had to find solutions by my own. It was very hard for me to find even a community of writers, people who were meeting on a regular basis, talking about writing techniques, receiving trainings. And I do believe that with this new wave of very young, innovative Rwandans, we do have a pool of talents. And for me, with the Kigali Writers Academy, I hope it to be an initiative that brings those people together, those young people, to see art as a career, first of all, because, as you know, in our cultures, professional cultures, it's almost always discouraging to see how much families do not encourage and support young talents who are creative. People are always pushing them towards other careers, which I'm not against. But at the same time, I think they should know that there are alternatives, there are other platforms that are there to help them shape their techniques and really discover themselves on the writing journey. So the platform really offers that sense of community, offers trainings, offers guidance and one-on-one support, and also connects writers with opportunities around literary events and writing and publishing opportunities. And we're just getting started. I hope that the more we continue being on this journey, the more opportunities and partnerships we're going to create for young writers so that they can also contribute to the African, but most importantly, Rwandan storytelling.
Before I move to my next question, I would like to share an experience I had in my previous job, and the reason why I really support the whole idea around the Kigali Writers Academy. So I remember there was a project I was working on, and we were looking for a program that was supposed to train writers like really professionalize their craft, and we looked everywhere. We looked on the continent, in Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. We even approached writing academies in the UK and the US. And those academies, they didn't even bother replying to us. Even some would say, oh, we don't train Africans or something like that. It was so frustrating and discouraging. And so when we discussed about your idea, when you were still thinking about it, I was like, yes, this is what we need. It is true we do have like some writing training workshops happening here and there, but they are not consistent. They're just random. Like an organization will come with a training idea. It happens once a year. The next year it won't happen. But also there is the language barrier. So if trainings are happening in English, those who don't speak English won't be able to participate. So I like the whole idea around the Kigali Writers Academy because it encourages all kinds of styles, because you cover fiction and fiction, poetry, etc. But also writers, they are free to write in any language they want. So, Caroline, Rwanda may not have a well-established writing and reading culture. What specific challenges did you face in introducing a writing program, and what opportunities do you see for nurturing literary talent in this context?
So if I could start with the challenges, I think that the biggest challenge is around mindset of us Africans, about how we perceive our own literature. So we have to be very comfortable producing African literature for Africans, really targeting an African audience. So I think with the influence from the West, as you just said, we've been some of African stories that are quite glorified. I think it's the stories of suffering, the stories of trauma, the stories of wars. Sometimes it becomes very much difficult for an audience that has been customized to such type of stories to understand that there are creative stories that can come from Africa and doesn't always have to be traumatizing stories. And it's okay and it's allowed, and there's enough room for Africans to be as creative as any other community in the world. So the biggest challenge is to change that mindset around Africans, but also inspiring Africans to write their own stories. It doesn't necessarily have to be writing targeting an external audience. The audience has first of all to come from within, from us enjoying our own stories, us enjoying and being used to being represented in literature, because it hasn't been happening for so many decades. And then in terms of opportunities, I think it's, young people reshaping. So, I think the image of Africa has been shaped negatively through stories that have been written and circulated and promoted. And I think that we have an opportunity of healing that African story and the African image on the global stage. I think there's so many Pan-Africanist ambassadors who are really doing that at a global scale, at a personal community scale. And I hope that the biggest opportunity is having Africans who are redefining what is an African story full of dignity, full of humor, full of authenticity, and that is not really fitting any predefined box. And also another opportunity is to link young authors and young writers with opportunities within Rwanda, but also within the region across the globe. I think it's very possible if we teach ourselves those skills that are, because writing, there's a science behind good writing, and we have to go through that process of learning what are the writing techniques, how do we apply them, how do we produce high quality, enjoyable stories so they can compete on a global scale. So I hope that we'll have more and more collaboration opportunities plugging into the academy and supporting the young writers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I like what you said. Also, I think it is very important that we write about our history, our tragedies, for memory and for heritage preservation. I also think we need really to show the world that Africa is not just that. We have so many facets, we have so many stories to tell, so many sides. We're like everyone else. And now you make me remember, it's the same story even in children's books. I remember when I started to work with writers and publishers 12 years ago, you would see stories that are really horrible. There were like established tropes that people were working on. For example, they describe young girls being raped in children's stories, and it is perceived as something normal, or children's drowning and dying, like having terrible accidents and whatever. And when you talk to writers in training workshops, they are like, but this is life. If we don't teach children how life is difficult now, who's going to do it? So it's really something I have been very advocate about it here in Rwanda, Senegal, and Tanzania. Like, okay, even if we had like difficult childhoods or life experiences, it doesn't mean we have to transmit that to the younger generations. We should be the light bringers. We should be the ones to really change the narratives and start highlighting the good side of our lives, and even promoting positive values. I totally understand what you said. Can you please elaborate on the unique aspects of your training program? How is it different from the other training workshops we see here in Kigali? Also, how do you approach teaching young writers to craft novels and short nonfiction stories?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I can make a quick comment on what you just shared about, young people. I think we were just talking about before this episode. We were talking about the influence of social media on young people. I think globalization brought so many positive elements in our lives today, like a day-to-day life. But I think the young generation overall needs so much guidance in terms of which type of values they need to embody, who represent those values. And I think if they can be conveyed through some of these stories in a very positive and empowering way, I think there's an opportunity of guiding more and more young people towards learning and also embodying those positive values. And I see this academy, and I hope these young writers contributing to that, because we have a whole generation that needs a certain level of positive guidance on how to lead a successful life. Not everything can be fetched on social media. Coming back to your question about the training program, it's really a workshop style program. We learn writing techniques, we read each other's stories, but most importantly, we group writers within a specific genre that they are focused on or they're passionate about. So, for instance, for writers working on non-fiction, we have to look at the structure of a non-fiction story and see how do you structure whatever content that you want to have that follows the norms of the industry. Same is applied to novelists who are working on novel or novella style of writing, and understand what is the art of storytelling within a fiction story, and how do we work towards developing those techniques. Same for non-fiction stories. I think every story, it's not even like me thinking that every story has a structure that it needs to be to be able to be well developed. We learn those techniques together. Same for poetry. I think for poetry we need even much more support, because personally I don't come from the poetry background. I love and consume a lot of poetry, but I have not really been able to write so much poetry. And my hope is that every genre will have a specialization in terms of the techniques that we transfer to the writers. But I think the biggest component of the support comes from one-on-one support. Where we have to sit and analyze each story, look if it's really representing those elements of a good story that we have discussed in a group setting, and then we come and sit together again, discuss our challenges, where we are in terms of progress. But most importantly, we do not rush the production of stories, because it's a creative process. It needs its own time, especially for young writers who are really still learning how to incorporate these techniques within their own stories. And the hope is that the more people are aware of the academy and its existence, they will start learning, being curious about the writing techniques before joining the academy. And then by the time they join, it will be like an acceleration program. But for the time being, I'll call it an incubation program, where most of the conversation we're having about writing techniques are very new to most of the writers who join the academy, and that's very okay. We really honor the journey they are currently on, and we hope that we're gonna continue adjusting once we have every cohort. Look at what are the elements that we have in the academy for that particular cohort, and adjust the program to that.
Oh, amazing. And if I get you well, so you really focus on peer learning and mentorship, right? Because I know you take a long time to mentor those writers. You have one-to-one meetings, but also you give them time to share ideas among them.
And write, and we encourage them to keep writing, put in the writing.
I like that. So can you share any success stories or notable achievements from the participants of the Kigali Writers Academy? And how has the program impacted their lives and perspectives on writing so far?
Yeah, thank you. So that's a tricky one, because we are just beginning. We only started the first cohort in mid-September 2023, and but so far we've seen progress, right, in terms of like a story development. For me, I said like the biggest achievement is to bring people who want to write together and have them embarking on the writing journey. The fact that they have already started is a success for us. And writing is always work in progress. Every draft is always work in progress. And now we are, even identifying opportunities, publication opportunities the writers can plug into. And we hope that, as they continue to polish and fine-tune their stories, we're going to be having manuscript drafts that are ready for submission. And we are giving ourselves the courage and the grace the process needs, but also pushing ourselves to hit certain results that we have committed to. So I really see them already identifying themselves as writers, which is very, very important in terms of embodying that identity that I am a writer, and that being a writer is not defined by which type of how many books you've already published. Is to know that you have something to share in a written form, and them defining themselves as writers is the biggest win, because once they perceive themselves as that, then they're gonna start and continue writing.
I think you're being very modest with yourself. Because I attended a few sessions of your Kigali Writers Academy, and I also think giving them space to express themselves, talking about the issues they face as the modern young Rwandans they are, was really how do I say that? Like inspiring and empowering. For example, you have young writers discussing mental health. They discuss Pan-Africanism. They discuss like seeking your identity. They discuss so many things, and they discuss like romance. Like we need the love stories to read more love stories in Rwanda. And I know you also have those who want to write children's books too. I think you're doing great things, really.
Okay.
So, Caroline, in addition to writing, how does the academy contribute to the promotion of the reading culture in Rwanda? Are there any specific initiatives aimed at fostering a love for literature among the participants?
Yes, definitely we do encourage them to read a lot within their particular genre, because every writer knows that they're learning from other writers who have already produced books within that particular category. That is one of the biggest encouragement. You learn from the best. You learn from the peers, the pioneers who have done it before. And we hope that some of the stories that we are going to be producing from this academy are going to be used as a tool for promoting literature among other young populations. And it's one step at a time, and we hope to get there soon. Yes.
Yes, and I know you organize like some literary cafes, like café littéraire. Yeah, you are doing amazing. So we're coming to the end of the podcast. So what are your aspirations for the future of Kigali Writers Academy? Do you have plans to expand or collaborate with other initiatives in the region to further enhance the literary landscape?
Yeah, definitely. My biggest dream is that, you're talking about, self-expression. I think that, if we have a cohort and a community or a generation of young Rwandans who perceive them as independent thinkers, will be one of the biggest dreams that can be fulfilled through the academy. Because once someone is an independent thinker, then they can also be an independent writer. And we hope that, to really collaborate with so many other partners who are like-minded and who can bring their own ways of thinking, their own resources, and then we can exchange ideas and resources. Yeah, definitely we're going to grow, but gradually. We do not, we aim for quality first of all before quantity in terms of expansion. So if you can really produce and focus on producing quality stories over and over, then the expansion will be a natural process after that.
Thank you so much. So any final thoughts on how our listeners can partner or support the Kigali Writers Academy?
Yeah, definitely. Once we start producing stories, please go ahead and support us by, supporting the writers in the academy and send us all the positive energy so we can continue nurturing that talent. And hopefully, like at 10 years, 5 years from now, we'll be having very well established Rwandan writers who just started their journey slowly through the academy, but then end up, now supporting another generation who are maybe in high school, primary level. So we hope that they're going to be that light that you're talking about over and over. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I know that the Kigali Writers Academy also seeks to publish an anthology of short stories written by those writers. So please, our listeners, those who work for institutions, please support the Kigali Writers Academy in any way possible, in any way you can, so that we enable these young writers to make their stories visible, their voices heard, and therefore contribute to the literature scene here in Rwanda, but also in East Africa. Thank you very much, Caroline.
You're most welcome.
Yes. So this was Caroline Numuhire, the founder and trainer at Kigali Writers Academy. Caroline is the author of Between Wild and Free and many other upcoming books, and she's also a life coach. So please stay in touch with her. Visit the Kigali Writers Academy pages on social media, on Facebook and LinkedIn, Instagram, and support her initiative. So now we are coming to the end of our podcast first episode. Please stay tuned to our next episode. We will invite an amazing author and reading social entrepreneur who has proven that it is possible to invest in reading and make it fun in areas beyond Kigali. Now that you have glimpsed into the vibrant world of Rwandan writing space and the entrepreneurs shaping its future, it's time to be a part of the narrative. Support these incredible voices by exploring their works, sharing their favorite reads, connecting with the authors and publishers we've featured. Visit our pages for more exclusive content, behind-the-scenes stories, and updates on upcoming episodes. Join the conversation on social media using #MakingBooksInKigali. Together, let's amplify the impact of these storytellers and continue to celebrate the diverse narratives that make our world richer. Your involvement makes a difference. Keep reading, keep listening, and keep making books matter. Thank you for embarking on this literary journey with us on Making Books in Kigali. We hope these stories of perseverance and creativity have sparked your curiosity and kindled a flame for Rwandan and African literature. Remember, each book has a story beyond its pages, and so do the incredible minds behind them. Keep turning the pages of the inspiration, and until next time, keep making books a part of your extraordinary journey. Stay inspired, stay curious, and keep making your mark on the world. This is Making Books in Kigali signing off.